Welcome, frenemies. Shout out to Columbus, Ohio, and our little members over there listening. Not right now because I don't know if anyone in Ohio. There you go.
Philly,
Odell
Cali.
Beckham. He's on the Browns
Odell
now,
Beckham.
right?
Breaking news. Odell Beckham to the Browns.
Definitely not breaking this time of the year. But hey, man, we got some exciting things. Episode 25 of our podcast. We're starting to ramp up, man. We're kicking off season 2 really next month. Season 2, we got some exciting things coming up. Kamish, would you like to talk about some of the exciting stuff that we're adding to season 2 of the Frenemies Fantasy Football Podcast?
So yeah, we're gonna get a little more serious in this. We want some input from you guys.
We want to be famous
We
quicker.
always want it. Yeah, we want to be famous quicker. We're taking this more seriously, as in we're gonna actually build a studio. So that's kind of the big news. Is we've got in my backyard. We're gonna make a sweet looking studio. Hopefully, you guys like the way it looks. And yeah, that's the big thing. Is we're gonna
My
get a little
question
more
is-
legit on that side of it.
How long until it stops being a joke for the girlfriend?
For the girlfriend, I don't know.
Yeah, how long? How many views do you have to get before the girlfriend stops laughing at you for doing frenemies?
Oh, so that is a good. We might need to put a petition up here
okay.
to help us out, so that Ryan doesn't feel like his
All right,
girlfriend
yeah.
can make fun of him.
This went a different direction. We weren't talking about this in pre-show. Giving dating advice here or something.
So yes, what Ryan is trying to say is, if we do all this work, please tell your friends.
So
We're gonna
that-
try to be more legit. It's gonna look more professional.
I feel like if
we're
you
gonna do
get
video,
to 5,000 views per episode, at that point, nobody can
Thinking
laugh.
big over here.
You can't laugh
trying
at
to
that
get into
anymore.
the triple digits for now here.
Yeah.
Yeah,
The big 100.
And there'll be a lot of other extra little episodes or individual episodes be shorter with things like with Sean and I will do some breakdowns of things from via players or matchups. Ryan's got his connections with Hollywood actors and actresses he might try to bring along as well. Then we got the Dr. Tim James breaking down his injury report. There's a ton of things that we're going to add on there outside of just trying to make one long episode.
Yeah.
So you guys can get a little more specialization. But yes, that studio, if you follow on our Instagram page, you probably saw a couple of pictures of us dying in the heat. We're doing some construction. What's our Instagram name?
Frenemies FF Pod.
All right,
That's where we are pretty much
FF
everywhere.
Pod. You want to jump on there? We just started that Instagram account as well. So let's go into some NFL
Please.
breaking news.
Yeah, real
And
breaking.
let's
news.
go real quick.
Odell Beckham to the Browns.
No, Sean, would you like to
Breaking
tell us
news.
the
Just-
real news?
Yes, I'll tell you the real news, but first, for the inside joke here, I don't know if we should reveal this on the podcast or not. Is it okay,
Do
Ryan?
Just
Oh boy,
We were
air
all
out my
having a
dirty laundry.
meeting last week about our studio that we were building.
Yep.
And somehow it came up about the Browns, and I made a bold prediction that I don't think they're going to make the playoffs this year, which is pretty bold if you know about the fact that they're like the third betting favorite for the Super Bowl this
Yep.
year. And they have all this talent, and they have Odell Beckham now. And Ryan went, what?
I found love.
He's like,
I
Ryan-
found love, and now instead of Roto World, I'm texting Girl World.
Yes, so ever since Ryan got a girlfriend, he did not listen to any of the offseason things, draft things, or anything. So pre-show, he was like hitting Roto World like crazy, catching
what we're
up
saying
with
is
the world of the NFL.
when you listen to the podcast, basically just listen to me and Chris, and then take what Ryan says with a grain of salt.
Basically, I'm like, oh, Jason Witten's back in the NFL. Oh, Joey Bozo was injured. Oh, Melvin Gordon's pissed off. Oh, Le'Veon Bell's a Jet. What?
Yes.
So
Oh, Alex Smith got injured? I forgot about that.
Yes. So
the good dynamic here
yeah.
is that you guys will have an everyman. We've always called him
Yes.
the man of the
I'm
people.
a man of the people.
he's the man of the
So
people.
Yeah.
you out there who didn't know that Odell Beckham is a Brown now, guess what? Ryan is just like you.
Just like you.
But the true breaking news coming down yesterday, Kamish, would you like to let the
Yeah,
listeners
so
know?
the big news coming in is Tyreek Hill. He is not going to be suspended. He was under investigation for the player conduct policy, and everybody was pretty. I think we even talked about it that we thought it was going to be at least a 10-game suspension, possibly the season. The Chiefs
Possibly
Or-
career ruining.
Yeah, they were
Yeah.
they were probably looking at cutting him at some point because they were swift with Kareem Hunt, and I guess some stuff's come out. We won't get into what actually happened, but it's looking more like that there's two sides to this story, and so I think the NFL just decided that it wasn't enough to say that he broke that policy, and he is not going to be suspended. So just quick reaction here.
Yeah,
Chris, what are you thinking for
fantasy impact is huge. As a Mahomes keeper, the return of his field stretcher is going to be big.
Absolutely.
Going into the season, we all thought Hill was going to be gone, so we were just wondering if Mahomes can put those numbers up again. He's got his cheat code back out there again.
It's going to help.
And it's going to open up the field. It's going to be great for the Kansas City offense. So almost every single weapon for Kansas City is draftable because they're almost going to try to not just duplicate. They're going to have Mahomes year 2.
Yeah,
right.
It's true.
So it's going to be
year 3 technically.
Year 3 technically, but year 2 is the starter. That playbook's going to be even bigger and bigger. So it's going to be fun fantasy wise.
So
also, Mahomes is hitting the gym. But you guys know this is something I do know. Mahomes is hitting the gym. He's trying to get rid of his baby fat, is what he calls it.
His baby fat.
You know how you look at Mahomes? He kind of looks like a kid.
Well, yeah. He is kind of a
kid. A little fluffy.
Pretty young. Okay. Yeah, so Tyreek Hill returning back is big news. Again, separate the whole legal stuff. I mean, we're all shocked that going in.
I really thought there was going to be more.
I got this gut feeling something might happen still, but for like guys and like Joe in our league, is he a keeper again? Do you want to keep him because he's a top tier receiver that gets not just all the long balls, he'll get every single catch, and he's a great PPR receiver.
I think that's kind of the two questions that go with this. We already covered the Mahomes type of thing. That's I think the biggest impact is that it's actually going to help Mahomes and make him worth drafting if you want a quarterback early. The other thing to consider then is that second option now. Is a second option now. We were all kind of looking at, is it going to be Sammy Watkins? Is this going to be this rookie they drafted?
Nico Hardman.
But now it's obviously going to be Tyreek Hill. Is there going to be still value in either one of those two? So that's kind of what this impact is going to have. And then also, if you are going to draft Tyreek Hill, is it just instantly back to where it was at the end of last season where he's looking like an easy top 10 wide receiver, maybe even possible top 5?
I think it is.
You do?
I think he returns right back in there because, this is all the off-field stuff, but you just got to think, where do you go to release all that frustration, right?
Yeah, I think that you can put him back in that. Like, his ceiling is absolutely still top 5, but I think it's always been a risk thing with him, and to me, the risk meter is just bumped up again, to where I'm gonna have to get a little bit of a value on him. I'm not gonna draft him as the 6th overall wide receiver.
Right.
If I can get him as 10th or 11th, then it's probably worth trying it.
Yeah,
because he'll give you those boom weeks, and that's what you need to win fantasy football. So
he's gonna be overdrafted.
Yeah.
People are going to be excited that he's back, and because of the crazy numbers last year and who his quarterback is, he's going to be overdrafted.
Plus,
I see him a second-round pick.
You can't cover him.
That's overdrafted.
Yeah.
Is there a single corner that can cover Tyreek Hill?
Not
there
so
wasn't
far.
one last year.
Jalen Ramsey tried.
All failed is what I saw.
All right, so to our breaking news, to something a little more serious, our party question. Christmas in July. Right now, it's like 113 degrees outside. The whole U.S. is going through a heat wave. So we are going to go talk about Christmas trees. Fake or real tree? Ryan, fake or real?
Fake.
I agree, fake.
100%.
Easier to deal with. You pack it away. Don't have to worry about all the little droppings of the leaves.
Yeah.
And all that. I mean, it's just so much better. You don't have to worry about
Am I here with like a bunch of Scrooges? Bah humbug over here. What is going on? No.
You're killing the atmosphere.
We didn't
Real
go chop down
Christmas
a tree like
trees.
you when you were a little kid.
Christmas
Tree
trees.
chopper.
No, but see, that's where I was going to make my argument from.
Okay.
I come from a home that had fake Christmas trees.
Oh, so you were just
And
fed up with
there
it.
was a
I
time.
come from a home that had real ones.
Yeah, but I had both. There was a time when we used to have a real one and a fake one, and then my dad, similar to you, decided, I want the fake one. This is too much work. Stop telling me you're trying to save the environment. It's a bunch of crap. All you want to do is not have to pick up all those needles.
All the needles, yep.
Yeah. So, but, I mean, come on. The fun of good one, I actually did this last year, and it was pretty cool, although it was pouring out, and some of it sucked. But going out and getting your own Christmas tree is sweet. I'd recommend
Did you
anybody
feel
go and
like
do
a
that.
man?
Yeah, you go chop the thing down. They give you that
He's
manual.
Irish, too.
Ooh, wow.
They give you that manual saw, and you just go at it. And then they've got things that replicate the smell and the look. But part of it is that falling on the ground. It's just you don't get the nostalgia of real Christmas if you don't have a real Christmas.
You know what?
tree.
All the nostalgia I need is 99 cent.
Well,
cent.
and it's like a little different for me, being as a grown man now. I go home to Texas for Christmas. So at my own house here in Virginia.
Yeah. Do you want your parents to have a real Christmas tree when you show up?
it doesn't really bother me. I just want the presents and the big meal. But yeah, for me, I get the fake one because I don't really spend Christmas in my own house. But I get that. I get chopping it down, having a real one. Maybe I'll go that route. But I like the
Sean,
easy part of the fake
you're
tree.
such a nostalgic.
Absolutely.
Your whole family's like that.
Well, we're big on family time, holidays,
Tradition.
birthdays.
You're big on stuff.
Yeah.
You make a thing out of a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
You're big
and
on
that's what I was
stuff.
going to say with Ryan is I say about humbug, and it's if you were to meet somebody who is kind of a Christmas Scrooge, I'm sure you'll freely admit that he is not. He's
that's
pretty
just terrible.
anti-Christmas.
I don't give a.
You don't care about
So
Christmas.
careful who you side with if you put in the comment section that you like
Yes.
fake Christmas trees.
All right.
Just one more point, though, before we move on.
Okay, one more.
Because I wrote about this in an
Oh, boy.
article.
No.
Here we go.
And I got a huge debate going online. It's in a Virginia magazine. And it was fake or real Christmas trees because the article was about 100 praying mantises that came out of a real Christmas tree. And this happens apparently a lot because I posted it and all of a sudden, yeah, that happened to me too. That happened to me too. You get a real tree, the chances are you're just going to have praying mantises all over your house.
At least someone's praying over you. Get it? Boom.
All right. Well, if that's the argument against is praying mantis, then I'll take it. But
All right, so let's get to fantasy talk. That's what you guys want to listen to. You're like, what? Christmas tree, Lucy. Hey, we're going in. We're about a month away from most drafts happening. All right, if you draft so early, unless you're in a keeper, not a keeper, a dynasty league that does most of the drafts early on, but most of us are in keeper leagues or redraft leagues. It's gonna be about a month and a half away from when you guys are drafting. So we're gonna talk about sleepers, busts, and value picks. So we all picked a guy that we like to highlight in there. You can go to many different sites, but after us looking at different websites, reading different articles, and just kind of going with our gut feeling, we're gonna start off with sleeper picks. And Kamish, I want to hear what you got.
yeah, so just to define a sleeper real quick, the way I see a sleeper is it's kind of more of that person who everybody knows about and he's probably got some value, but he's being drafted a little bit behind what he should be. So he's that pick that, you keep in your back pocket. You think everybody's not sweet on this guy like I am, and I think that he's going to return a really good, value for that specific spot.
The bargain pick.
Yeah, kind of the bargain pick, and the one, like I said, that it's weird because we're
it's
telling
not a
everyone
bargain
right
pick
now, so
because
everybody in
it's-
our league gets to hear who's in our
I know.
little sleeper.
But like I
It's,
said, if you're good, it's okay.
it's kind of the guy that you keep away from everybody because he's your sleeper. So my sleeper is Devonta Freeman. I gravitate towards those running backs I think that are being undervalued in the draft, and right now that's Devonta Freeman. He's going in the middle of the third round, 305 according to Pro Football Calculator, and he's RB 18. I mean,
Yeah.
that is a serious drop down. I know he was hurt last year. He's had a little bit of an injury history.
Knee problems, yeah.
Yeah, but I don't see how it's not just a return to form. One, there's no Tevin Coleman there anymore, so there's potential for even a greater value there. And he's not going to be he's supposed to be completely back from this injury. And before that, just something I looked up here, the last 3 seasons, he's been an RB12 or greater. So he's been an RB1. Before last year, where he only played half a season, he was a top 10 running back or top 12 running back. And now you can get him as the RB18. So for me, that's a guy I'm going to target. The draft strategy that's great for it is you could go get 2 stud wide receivers in those first 2 rounds, and then my RB1 is Devonta Freeman. I'm totally fine with that.
Do you think Ito Smith, who played second fiddle to
No,
Coleman last year,
He's crap, dude.
Will
I
he-
had him.
will
This
he-
I remember.
there we go. So that's what I want to know. So Ito Smith, would they use him like they used Tevin Coleman and Freeman in the past?
Ito was never good, dude.
Or is Freeman, because you also got to look, Freeman coming back, are they going to try to split early? Just looking at what the offense have done in the past in Atlanta, where
Yeah.
they used 2 of the running backs, do they think,
Well,
you think they haven't added anyone
They have
else?
Dirk Cutter coming back, so
Okay.
he's a little bit less of that two
Two-back
running
guy.
back system.
Good point. Forgot about that.
Yeah, and I would say that Ito is going to see an uptick, but I don't think he's going to get to Tevin Coleman levels.
Ito.
Frito Ito, yes.
Yeah, he had like one
Ito
little
Frito.
big game. Everyone started picking him up.
Ito
I don't
your
even think
Fritos.
he rushed over 400 yards. Yeah, so I like that pick. It's that risk, but when he's healthy, He has been there. You can trust him, keep him in your lineup the whole year.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to lie. It's definitely a little bit of a risky pick just because of his injury history, like I told you. But to me, I think unless something catastrophic happens, he's going to be an RB1, and you're getting him now in the 3rd round. You can't argue with that.
That's true. Well, my sleeper pick, going from one leg injury to another leg injury recovery, I love Jimmy G. Jimmy Garoppolo, not only because he looks like a Calvin Klein model, all right?
Let's just be honest, you got a crush on him.
Just Jimmy G, come on now. But before, everyone was big
That is a
about him
good-looking
last
man.
offseason before the leg injury. So him coming back, I think right now he's ranked at like most places 22nd out of the quarterback listing. So that's he's outside of being even drafted. So he's a sleeper in a way that he's a free agent pickup, all right, or a waiver wire pickup when your quarterback goes down. But I believe with the weapons and the offense that he has, and the weapons are young, but adding a Tevin Coleman, Kerry Kittles was looking amazing with backup QBs last year.
Who?
All right, Kittles. I say
Yeah,
Kevin. Did I say
you
Kevin?
said
My
Kerry
bad.
Kittles.
Kerry Kittles.
George Kittle.
I accidentally went to the New Jersey Nets. Wow, that's basketball world there. All right, Kittle's coming back, dominant with young backup QBs. You got Dante Pettis, who I'm hearing a ton of great reports out of camp. Great size. The Debo Samuel, that he might be a little slow coming in because he's coming off some injuries out of college, but he's a phenomenal downfield guy. Jalen Hurd, McKinnon, all of those weapons in a Kyle Shanahan offense. Even the run plays are all dump plays. So the stat-wise, the balls come out of Jimmy's hands, even if it's a 3-yard dump swing pass. If it goes, that's yardage for your quarterback. So he's going to be involved and not just going to be handing off all day because that's just not what Kyle does all the time. He loves using the back in the passing game, even for short yardage purposes.
So to put it in perspective here, he's going in the beginning of the 12th round as QB 18. So he's basically free at the end of your draft.
Yeah.
If you're waiting all the way to the end and you want him to be your starter, which is, I'm assuming, what you're pitching as an idea.
If
Get
I'm
that
in a
value
redraft,
early,
value
then,
all the way down.
and then you can get him. So just to give you some other names here, just to test you, Chris, on whether
boy.
you would actually draft them or not. So still available, according to Pro Football Calculator here, is that Lamar Jackson. You looking at Jimmy G over Lamar Jackson?
No,
I know he's a fantasy cheat code kind
I'm
of.
taking Lamar Jackson. You get the
Okay.
passing and the rushing yards. And that's a tough one because you don't know how involved
dude,
that offense will be. But Lamar Jackson was great.
Yeah.
Listen,
when he was a starter.
I ain't the 6-time champ like you, but heck no, dude.
That's a tough one.
Another one, Josh Allen. You taking Jimmy Garoppolo? These rushing guys.
You're purposely putting those rushing QBs. I would take
These are just the next guys after him.
I would take Jimmy G over Josh Allen 'cause I don't know if the rushing yards are true for Allen.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
No, Allen's running for his life.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
Lamar knows what he's doing.
And then you've got Kirk Cousin and Mitch Trubisky.
I would take him over Mitch,
Okay.
and I would.
Mitch is a bust. Sorry.
And then we're going to your home team here, Kirk Cousin.
Kirk is a toss up. I think
He's
they
a
can
bust.
land him on the same spot. But
I should do the bust.
I would go with Kirk because he's got more legit targets.
Okay.
Bro,
So that's
Kirk-
kind of the
Kirk-
area you're looking
Kirk
for,
is a
man.
bust, dude. I'm sorry.
Well, when you're looking that low
He needs
down
to
at
get
Jimmy
into
G.
other things in life, I think.
But if I'm drafted purely on looks, I pick Jimmy over all of those guys.
All right.
Anyways.
I like it.
All right, so those are our sleeper picks. Ryan, you got.
I'm just like throwing opinions that have nothing to do with the actual questions that you're asking. I apologize, Chris. All I see here, opening up Fantasy Football Calculator after not really paying a whole lot of attention, is that this list is a bunch of bull honky for so many different reasons.
is the
Ezekiel
man-
Elliott,
man
yeah,
of the
sure,
people here.
maybe he'll be number one. Saquon Barkley, maybe, with a crappy team around him. Alvin Kamara, maybe, if he can
Sleepers.
survive. Okay, Christian McCaffrey. No, I'm just doing my own thing, dude. We'll see if Christian McCaffrey can run with this massive frame he built around him, or if he'll just turn into a balloon, oxygen-sucking muscle balloon. David Johnson, no. Listen, this is a crappy list.
Well,
Melvin Gordon's gone.
this is the
he's
people.
out of relevance.
You're a man of the people here, and you're insulting the people because this is
This
combined
is
data of all
all the
sites.
mock
People
drafts.
are.
So
mock
you guys
drafting.
are all smoking something, man. Because look, Julio Jones is old, man. He's not gonna be worth a first round pick or a second round, maybe a second round, a late second round.
All right. Well, can you
Heck
at least
no.
pick one out of there for me, Ryan, that you
That's
think
good?
is a good value?
I'm in a negative frame of mind right now. It's too late.
All right,
All
so
right.
then let's.
Yeah, I can find somebody.
Speaking
who's
of
good.
negative, we will transition here
Yes.
to our busts.
Our bus picks.
We'll give you some time to think there, Ryan. And
Dude, I've got it ready, man.
all right, go for
Julio
it. Who's-
Jones, no. Too many injuries. He's getting too old. He's going to get slow down eventually. He was pretty bad last year. He had some yards, but he didn't get touchdowns. Okay, it's all coming back to me. I'm like, Melvin Gordon, he's griped, dude. If he's on the Chargers, he's a bust. He's not worth a first-round pick. Hell no. Le'Veon Bell,
going
maybe he's okay.
going off the rails here.
He's good. James Conner will be fine for you. Joe Mixon, what is he doing at number 11? You guys are all smoking pot. Okay, Michael Thomas
This
is
coming
good.
from the guy that hasn't
Yeah.
been up on what's going on in fantasy in the last
No,
6
dude.
months.
I know enough to know that sometimes you guys can all go off together. No, not you
So
guys.
what we'll do here is
All right.
Yeah.
just to put
Antonio Brown, no. No. He's going to be down. No way he's going to be that good. No way he's going to be 21 overall.
so to rein this man
Yeah.
back in here.
Yes. All right, rein me back in.
What we'll do is
Oh,
to satisfy Ryan's need to
Ego.
be correct here.
My need to be
We're
heard.
gonna actually just to tease some new stuff we might do. I think we're gonna come up with some rankings. Maybe we'll commit to at least a top 20. So a top 20 in each position. I think we can all do. We'll come up with that. Then we'll kind of through the year be able to mock each other and be like, "Look, you were an idiot because you said Melvin Gordon's the 15th overall and now he's number 1."
Yep.
That's what we'll do. Then Ryan, you can go through this list, tell everybody they're idiots, and then laugh when you're right at the end.
All right, so going back
Back to
our
the
bust.
script that we
Yeah.
have gotten so far off from. Chris, who's a bust that you're looking at this year? And then also define for us what you're saying a bust is.
All right, so a bust is someone where where they're being drafted. All right, somebody that we value highly, and they do not live up to expectations.
So example might be we had the year that Todd Gurley was with Jeff Fisher, and he plummeted down to like RB 27 or something.
That is a
and
bust.
he was somebody that was drafted in that, I think, often first overall and busted. And then last year it was kind of David Johnson. So that's kind of what you're looking at. That guy that you take in the first like 3 rounds that just tanks your team because he busts out.
Julio Jones, dude.
All right, so for me, he's not even sometimes ranked right there as a draftable quarterback. If you're in a 12-team league, but Ben Roethlisberger. Sometimes we gotten so just used to clicking him toward the end of a draft when you need a quarterback because he gives you everything you need yards wise. He's not always a touchdown guy because they run the ball inside the 10s. All right, but you gotta look at it. No more Antonio Brown. A lot of pressure on Juju. Okay, so I'm thinking, and last season he had 8 top 10 finishes. All right, and that was with 2 top tier wide receivers. Now he's only got 1, so he's projected in some places as a top 10, but on most rankings got him in that 12 to 14 rank. But I'm nervous about what he can actually do with Juju, taking more coverage looks. All right, they're going to bracket over him. They're going to always double him until someone else steps up there. But Pittsburgh has a history of making these receivers look great. So there could be another Antonio Brown coming out of Pittsburgh. And
Take a
then
stance. Don't go back and forth.
I
Chris.
see also Connor
You got to protect
taking
yourself,
a lot.
though.
I see Connor taking a lot of ground and pound game there. I think
Okay.
they're going to get back to a simpler offense where Ben's not back there throwing for 300 plus yards a game. Because I don't think there's going to be another receiving threat in Pittsburgh. So you're going to see a low-scoring Steelers team. That might hurt some Juju guys, but Juju might still get the stats enough to be relevant. But Roethlisberger will be irrelevant fantasy-wise.
That's where I wanted to steer the conversation. I think
Okay.
that Ben Roethlisberger is, you can call him a bust, and that may not affect people as much, but where it will affect is Juju. So Juju's going right now at the beginning of the middle of the second round. So at 207, you're talking about, you've gotten a RB1, and then now you're committing your wide receiver 1 spot to be potentially a top 5 overall wide receiver as Juju Smith-Schuster. With everything that you said about Ben Roethlisberger, do you think that's a potential bust spot too? Because that to me is where it'll hurt people more.
I wouldn't call it a bust. I think the value will drop.
Okay,
Should drop to where
So you don't think he'll return on a second round pick?
No, I think I think Juju will catch 112 yards out of the 150 that Ben throws.
Okay.
Just because he'll force the ball to his main man, but there's just not going to be that many options.
So more of a volume play
Right.
than really, being the efficiency that he was with Antonio
Yeah,
Brown
I'm a
there.
big fan of Juju, but Antonio Brown also loved having other receivers around him too that kind of help him out and stuff. And they're two totally different receivers.
Okay. I would agree. I think Juju is a good candidate to be careful on. There's definitely some upside there, but you could definitely be in trouble if you put him in as your top 5 wide receiver.
Ben Roethlisberger needs to stop talking.
He's walked it back a bit, actually. He apologized a little bit on
like Aaron Rodgers. He's a guy who has that respect. For some reason, Aaron Rodgers is just so sassy, just as a person, that he can just say stuff to the media like, this guy needs to step it up. This guy needs to step it up. He gets away with it.
because he owns the Packers, basically.
Yeah. Ben Roethlisberger says something like that, he's like a two-faced scumbag, like a backstabber, because he's like, yeah, I'm the man of the people, and then no, he sucks in the media. He like throws people under the bus, and he's losing his team. I think he lost his team, man. He lost the locker room.
Would you be in the camp that the Steelers' offense is going to plummet this year?
Yeah, I think he lost the locker room. I think
Okay.
a lot of players are probably
So
going
you
to be
think
upset.
most of that, James
Here.
Conner, Juju, that you're going to be all
James
overdrafting?
Conner is such a positive guy. He's still new. He'll be fine. But as a qualitative point of view, Ben lost the locker and they're going to suffer.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, Sean, I like where you're going with this bust. I think you have to ring in the listeners on this one guy. It's getting a little out of hand.
Yeah, exactly. So this is a guy that was a darling of last year, and what you could call a breakout of last year was George Kittle.
Not Kerry Kittle.
Not Kerry Kittle. We've mentioned him earlier in the podcast. So George Kittle, the tight end for the San Francisco 49ers, he is being drafted right now in the 3rd round. 2nd overall tight end, passing now Zach Ertz. I think it's getting a little out of hand. I think he had a crazy efficient year last year. He was also one of the only targets in town with bad quarterbacks, which what ends up happening is they highly target, especially a tight end that's sitting there, big, easy target right in the middle of the field. I'm going to throw to this guy over and over again. And I don't think Jimmy Garoppolo is, like you said, that type of quarterback. Shanahan's going to want to move it around. They drafted 2 wide receivers in Jalen Hurd and Deebo Samuel, as you mentioned. McKinnon's coming back. They signed Tevin Coleman. I just see too much offense there for it to all be with Kittle as it was last year. Kind of to put this in perspective, you can get Evan Ingram right now 3 rounds later in the 6th round, and I think you're going to get a fairly similar return because
Right.
he now is in a team where it doesn't have Odell Beckham,
Right.
and there's going to be all those vacated targets, and he's going to be extremely targeted.
Yeah.
So you're going to get a lot more volume with that. So to me, the tight end has always been a position that it's, unless there's that guy like a Travis Kelce where he's going in the 2nd round, and I actually think that might be worth it because he's such a difference maker in the position. I don't see Kittle being as close as he was to those guys, Zach Ertz and Kelce. He's going to be more in that middling where you're going to really regret you could have taken
Right.
your RB2 or even your RB1 in that 3rd round that you can't take now.
And sometimes it's like you trust the relationship between the quarterback and the tight end.
Yep.
Like Greg Olson, Jason Witten, we love those guys for value picks or like in the tight end position because we knew that they were the blankie, the
Yeah.
safety blanket for the quarterback. Kittles hasn't played a whole year with
Jimmy G.
Jimmy G. You don't know if that's what he's going to try to check down there. When the first, second look doesn't look good, usually tight end sometimes sits right in the middle of his zone. He's got to dump it over there. Will he be that? Greg Olson, phenomenal for Cam Newton that way, but we don't know where good old George is going to be. And a shout out to Iowa tight ends. Oh my goodness, they had 2 drafted in the 1st round this year.
Yep.
This guy goes like crazy. If I probably did homework, I can point out how many more tight ends came out of Iowa.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not poo-pooing Kittle here. I think Kittle is going
His
to be great.
value, his ADP is too high. That's where the bust will be.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Because that's just the average. So that means there's a lot of people drafting him earlier. If somebody's putting a 2nd round pick or early 3rd round pick on this guy, you are asking for somehow him to replicate his history breaking season last year.
Yeah, for me, guys, when you're looking at a 3rd round pick and you're coming back around, you have to double up on a position. So if you went wide receiver, running back, then that 3rd round, in my opinion, has to be finding my wide receiver 2, my RB2.
Yep.
That's not
You
me at
have
all.
to go that way. If you go tight end 1, how much are you getting out of there? And like you said, it's gonna be hard to do statistically what he did last year.
Yeah.
So I would go that's the only thing. We think Kittle will have a great year, but not like crazy like he did last year, and a third round is totally bust level.
I mean, you're passing up running backs like Sony Michel. You're passing up wide receivers like Julian Edelman, Stefan Diggs. Like, that's who you're leaving on the board when you draft George Kittle.
Yeah,
and I
like,
think
I
that's
pass up
going to
on
hurt your team.
I
Kelsey.
might be the only one in this room who would definitely consider that, though.
Okay.
I love having the best at every position if possible,
And I agree. I've come around on that frame of mind. Like, I used to be very anti. Even when Gronk was going in the first and second round, I was like, nope, I'm waiting. I don't think he's ever worth anything higher than a third round pick. But I don't think Kelsey is that this year. Kelsey is the cut above. He's going to get you a touchdown a week. He's going to be consistent.
Finally.
He is the new Gronk.
I agree.
But I don't think that Kittle, just based on last year, is going to do that again. And you can't.
I think you
I don't
will.
think
I think
you don't see the consistency there that you've had with
and
Kelsey.
but to me, you're looking at top
Kelsey's
three picks,
been
you need
bad,
volume.
though. Kelsey's been bad until last year.
He's been average.
He's been average,
He's
and
been a
then-
top 5 tight end probably the last 3 or 4
He's
years.
been like way drafted prematurely because I kept drafting that guy and I was like, dude, you are doing nothing for me.
Yeah, for me, a third round pick or even second round pick, you got to look at usage.
yeah.
You got to have the volume to produce you points.
That's
Sometimes
it. He
tight
had
ends can
everything
lose it.
going for him. He just never got thrown to.
Yep.
Yep.
Yeah.
Now he's got Patrick
getting thrown
Mahomes.
to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now we go from bust. Let's go to values.
Okay.
So we went sleepers, things we are surprises, bust, trying to warn you on stuff. Value. Now this is where we try to sound smart. All right.
This is the one I think you really dive a little deeper into you're looking not
Yes.
quite in those first couple rounds, but really this is a guy that is just like, why is everyone so low on him? I can get a crazy value. He's dropped to me. That's the value guy.
yeah.
So go ahead and start us off.
All right.
there,
So
Chris.
value.
Fun of fantasy.
This is the fun one.
This is the name that almost anybody that runs a fantasy football podcast article brings him up every year, and he seems to disappoint because you have to set your expectations correctly. But Lamar Miller, I mean, he just
Morgan
won't
Collins,
go
shout
away. I know, right? But ADP around 6th round. Most rankings got him in the low 20s or at 30. So you're looking that he's not even being drafted as RB1 or RB2 on a 12-team league. Looking at that, but he is a starter in Houston with a great offense that I think is going to get better with Deshaun Watson. But he was just shy of 1,000 yards last season. Only scored about 6 touchdowns. I think it was 5 on the ground, 1 in the air. But if you get him at a flex option, that is serious value for drafting him anywhere in the 6th to 8th round. Because if you already have solid running backs and you're looking at that draft and the board's coming back down and you're not too sure on the receivers, pick the guy that you know is going to be at least a 2-down back. Get you some yards. You can put a running back. I love putting a running back at the flex, especially when he's a starter. And this is a starter on a playoff team.
Yeah.
So he's got a Hopkins that's taking coverage away from him, and a quarterback people are starting to respect year after year. I think he won't get 1,000 yards, but he can be a good flex option. A fringe RB2, but I don't think he can get there.
I think he's that guy that if you go Kelsey or Kittle or something in the early rounds and you're looking for that RB2 that you're desperate for in the 6th round, I think Lamar Miller's a great option.
Yeah.
One, I think it's important. I've kind of realized this throughout the years that taking players you know are going to start hot is really important because you can figure out the second half of the season. The first half of the season is where you can rack up some losses. So
Yes, if you
you need to
draft
have
bad,
a team that
yeah.
you can at least depend on in the beginning. It's so fun to go for that. I'm going to draft Kareem Hunt because he's going to come back in week 8 and be the RB5 because he's on the Browns and they're
Right.
amazing. But that just to me is almost a waste of a pick if you lose 6 of those first 8 games.
Can't play for the playoffs. You're not in position.
Exactly. So he's not a sexy pick. You're gonna feel gross hitting that button because somehow Lamar Miller is still the
going around.
main running back for the Houston Texans. Deontay Foreman, that's kind of the elephant in the room here. We're not talking about.
But he's unproven. We don't know yet. What
He's
he
coming
can do.
back from an injury that is not supposed to be able to come back from very easily.
Nope.
He didn't play much last year, and when he did, I think he had negative total yards. It was not a good comeback. He'll be healthy. I think there's opportunity for him to maybe take some of the load off, but I think it's gonna. If it happens, it's gonna be later in the season that you're really gonna lose Lamar Miller, and by that time you'll have your team set up, I think, to be ready for that. So Lamar Miller, I agree. That's probably like the best pick that you've done here that I absolutely agree with.
Yeah,
Lamar
Houston
Miller.
has to improve in the red zone offense, and it's like that's why everyone loved the Houston kicker last year because they got close. They had to keep kicking, and the run game is what helps you out of that way. So I think you're going to see an emphasis on the ground. He might get more touchdowns, but again, he's a starting running back. You got to take him.
So speaking of old running backs that are probably
guys.
past their prime,
Frank Gore?
well, he's on the same team as
He's
this
on the
guy.
same team as this guy.
Are we just gonna glance over the fact that Jarvis Landry is going in the 7th round?
Well, if you want to take it from here, go for it.
Jarvis Landry's going in the 7th round. That's a bargain.
All right.
Boom. Quick
Boom.
take.
Hot take.
Because for those of you who don't know, Odell Beckham Jr. is now on the Browns.
He's
So
taking away that coverage.
there's gonna be nobody to cover any of those guys.
If you were in a football cave or away from the
it's a non-football.
You were in a
cave.
girlfriend cave.
There we go. All right, so who is your value pick? I like this one.
So
It's debatable. That's why I like
so this is gonna probably make some people angry because nobody wants to pick this guy, and I don't understand. I understand that he should not be what he once was, top 10 running back. As early as 2 years ago, he was, I believe, a top 10 running back on a lot of people's rankings. LaShawn McCoy, he has dropped to the 8th round.
Yes.
The 40th overall running back being drafted right now. Now, I'm all for shooting for, as high as you can with those later picks, like, Chris Henderson, or what is it, the Rams guy, Henderson.
Backup?
Yeah, the guy that they've got in there for...
Oh, Daryl Henderson.
Daryl Henderson for the Rams. He's like a great long shot. If it's going to depend on what your team makeup is. You might choose him over LaShawn McCoy in some cases, but they're going around the same place. But for me, if you need somebody, like I said, that starts off the season, the hate has gone way too far for LaShawn McCoy. I think that
Too
he
much shade on
still has a legitimate chance of being an RB2 for you. And like I said, you're getting him as the 40th overall running back. So you're talking about like your RB3 or 4 on your team, just sitting on your bench, that if it comes out and he still is Shady McCoy, then guess what? You're going to get a startable running back that you can use, and you got him in the 8th round. I mean, to me, these are the guys that I look for as values. Somebody who feels like they're a little past their prime, or they just have some reason it just isn't, I'll take this word again, the sexy pick.
Yeah.
But
Ooh, sexy.
I just think LaShawn McCoy is somebody that if worse comes to worse and he does get overtaken by Frank Gore, TJ Yeldon, or it is a 3 split, then you only spend an 8th round pick on him and you'll be fine.
Yeah, the only thing that's scary is Devin Singletary. If you know me, I'm a rookie running back guy.
Yep.
But the unknown is, will he be also making it a 4-back thing? Are they wanting to see him go there? But Shady, as a bench player, is worth it if you got him lower.
Yeah,
'Cause,
I will give the caveat, as we will with all these things we're talking about. This is all before preseason. A lot's going to change in the next couple weeks here when we start to actually see these players get on the field and we get a little more of the depth chart. And you have to sift through all the coach talk. But
yeah,
as long as nothing big happens with this backfield, I think that LaShawn McCoy in the 8th round is a steal.
I mean, last year he just under 600 yards rushing, but it was still close to about 800. All right, about total yardage.
Yeah.
So he still get a lot of
And
usage.
he was
even that
injured.
last year.
He will be injured. He's going to be that player. You're not going to know whether to start. But
Right.
as long as you realize that he's no longer RB1 Shady McCoy, then getting the 40th pick off, the 40th running back, and the potential of getting yourself the 20th best running back is something that I like.
So put this up here. You got Shady McCoy, usually the starting running back. We'll know more because once you're drafting, you'll see more into the preseason. Mm-hmm. But in the middle rounds of the rounds where he's going, you said about the 8 to 10 range.
Yep.
All right, so this is where usually you're looking at wide receiver 2s on rosters.
Yeah.
Right. So you're looking at like he's the second best receiver on his team, or do I gamble on a running back that's probably just getting the starter role?
Yep.
So that's where you're looking at picking Shady. You're not picking Shady over other major starting receivers where usually you start to fill your roster. You got a sneaky starting running back that's falling.
Yeah, so just an example for you. So you've got DK Metcalf, you've got Geronimo Allison, N'Keal Harry. Those are the guys that'll be going around him. A lot of this is going to have to do with what your roster looks like. If you need wide receiver help or you need that kind of shoot for the stars type of player, then, like I said, that's not going to be LaShawn McCoy. You're not going to get an RB1. I think it would be crazy if he's an RB1. But if you're looking for stability in your running back core, say you took some gambles on the top end, you have maybe a Todd Gurley, somebody else took Henderson, and you just looking for something to get you by if Gurley's not 100% at the beginning of the season, then LaShawn McCoy, I think it's a great place to, just take a chance.
Yeah, I agree with you there. I was trying to, push you with would you rather pick here, but a lot of them, again, are guys who are obviously going to split carries and not even RB1s.
Yeah.
And
they're just different players. That's why I say that. Like, if you're looking for a player that you want to get you the crazy high upside, then don't draft Shady McCoy. But if you need someone to stabilize your bench there, then fantastic.
Let's talk about draft. I drafted with you for the last couple of years. We always have that little look on our face, and we're like, I picked him, but I'm not in love with it. This is a pick where you can say, I got Shady McCoy next to feel. That's good. That's a value there. These are the guys we're talking about instead of like, I'm going to take a flyer on this guy who I don't really know, but these guys have proof in the pudding.
Yep. All right, well, I think that's pretty much everything we had. I don't know if Ryan had any closing crazy thoughts for us. Or
He's going crazy all day today.
Don't buy into these. This is my thing every year. Don't buy into these pre-draft rankings. People make a living trying to come up with stuff, and they get spun out, I think. Just look at last year's stats and go off of that. That's all that matters is last year's stats. This is all just hearsay until it's proven.
So go off of Ryan's is what he's saying.
There we go.
Don't go off of me. Go off of last year's stats. Who did what?
Well, hey guys, this is where you really start doing your homework before preseason comes in. Get to know the names of the guys that are fighting for position battles. All right, look at those rookies that are jumping in there. And also don't fall in love with the darlings of preseason.
Yeah.
All right, like the Danny Amendola's back in the day where we thought he was going to be big with like the Rams and the Cowboys back then. But just look at, these middle round guys as you look in the draft. Pay attention to injuries. That'll win you the league. When we come back next month where we start ramping up our podcast episodes, we'll be talking a little more about the draft, put our rankings out there, and then we'll unveil a little bit more of all the new things going into season 2.
See our bright and shiny faces on camera again. I know you've missed it.
Yes, you missed my beautiful face.
My left tricep.
Yeah, little tricep. But when we're back on, we'll be in a whole new studio. We're actually going to sign off here and go back to work on it. So we're still under construction.
I would just say that if you want to subscribe, do it. If you don't, we're not going to necessarily blame you. Yeah, my voice cracked.
All right,
We won't
frenemies,
blame
we'll be
you.
back. Like and subscribe. Hit us up. Tell your grandmother all about us. And hit us up on YouTube next month when the episode comes back out. See you guys later.